Israel has held a Palestinian pediatrician and tortured him for 550 days with no charges. No charges at all, okay? And so wait till you see how badly he's been tortured. His crime, he insisted on staying with his patients who were kids who needed help during the genocide in Gaza. And Israel never forgave him for that and has been torturing him ever since. Anna's got the facts.
Right, rather than abandoning his patients during mandatory evacuation orders, he insisted on staying behind at the hospital in order to provide care to his patients. And for that, the Israelis detained him and have been torturing him ever since. In fact, we have some images to share with you that'll prove that. Now, this doctor is Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya. He's the head of the Kamal Adwan Hospital in Beit Lahiya, Gaza. And unsure of what the condition of that hospital is at this moment, Israel is still refusing to allow international journalists into the Gaza Strip because they probably don't want reporters to, report on the annihilation of the Palestinian people and the complete destruction of the Gaza Strip, which of course the Israelis plan to settle soon. Now, he is a pediatrician that was on the day of his detainment taking care of tens of critically ill children, most of whom were visibly malnourished and in urgent need of medication. Now, on October 27th, 2024, the Israeli army stormed the hospital, removed patients and staff, and left the hospital burning. That's what they do. The raid put Kamal Adwan, the last remaining major hospital in the area, out of service. Now, why was he arrested? What are the Israelis saying? What's the reality? Well, Abu Safiya had been held without charge, has been held without charge by Israel. And they are, I guess, accusing him of being a member of Hamas with no evidence, with no charges, by the way. No charges. This is what they do. And there's no evidence that he's ever been associated with Hamas or to justify his detention. On June 16th of this year, Israel's Supreme Court upheld the latest detention order against him, which would keep him in detention for up until October at least, but they keep renewing it, right? So they keep renewing his detention. He keeps remaining there longer and longer. Since June 3rd, Dr. Safiya had been held in solitary confinement while continuing to be detained, or denied, I should say, access to adequate health care. And according to the Nelson Mandela rules that limit holding someone in solitary confinement to 15 days, that's been totally ignored. That's obviously, they're holding him in solitary confinement for longer periods of time. So I want to show you what his current condition is. You're going to see the before image of him and then the after image of him. And by the way, there are also videos of him looking malnourished and clearly in poor condition. So after being transferred, he was able to speak to his lawyer, and the doctor told the lawyer, quote, "This is the last time you will see me. They brought me here to kill me. I don't see myself surviving. This is the end."
Real quick, when's the last time you actually checked your Medicare plan? Can't remember? That's what I thought. But the costs creep up, the plans change every year, and they're counting on you not noticing. It's another rigged system. So please check with Chapter, the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. They're independent, they're honest, they advocate for you, not the insurance companies. A listener of ours out in California was skeptical when he first dialed Chapter, but in just one call, they found him coverage he'd been missing for months, and he's not alone. People who switch to Chapter save more than $1,000 a year on average. And if you're already on the best plan, they'll just tell you. Free help in under 20 minutes, call 805-201-2275. Worst case, you'll be certain that you have the best coverage. Best case, you stop overpaying and get the coverage you need at the lowest possible price. That's 805-201-2275.
Now, his sons also reported seeing their father in an unrecognizable condition. Let me read you what Elias Abu Safiya had to say. "My father was unable to breathe. My father was unable to speak. His face was disfigured from the marks of torture and pain, especially after the last court session held in Jerusalem at the Supreme Court. We still call out, plead, appeal, and beg to all the free people of the world and to everyone with an atom of humanity in their heart to save my father's life before it's too late. The big crime is that he wouldn't evacuate a hospital and abandon his patients who were literally children. For that crime, the Israelis detained him, and Physicians for Human Rights, Israel documented what's been going on. So according to Dr. Abu Safiya, after a hearing in his appeal at the Israeli Supreme Court, 4 to 5 officers entered his cell and beat him across his body with a hammer and batons. He said that similar violence has since become a daily occurrence, causing him to lose consciousness several times over the previous week. His attorney reported that the doctor arrived at their most recent meeting with both his hands and feet cuffed and accompanied by masked guards. He observed fresh bruising across the doctor's body, including on his head and around his eyes, ears, and neck, injuries so severe that he could barely recognize him. Let me just read one more. During the meeting, the doctor had difficulty breathing and speaking, appeared extremely weak, and struggled to remain seated without falling. On several occasions, he leaned backward, raising fears that he was about to lose consciousness. He's not alone, by the way. There are many others held. 82 other healthcare workers are still languishing in Israeli prisons.
Yep. So when you arrest someone without charges and you keep them for nearly 2 years and never charge him, that means there are no charges and he's just a hostage. He's not a prisoner, he's not a detainee, he's a hostage. And there's other, as Anna pointed out, 82 other healthcare professionals who are hostages of Israel. But you probably don't know this, not your fault, because national media here are disgusting propagandists for Israel. They're kind of the Goebbels that covers up all of Israel's crimes. So they never told you, do you know that Israel takes thousands of hostages? So when the Israelis were taken hostage on October 7th, it was the most important thing in the history of the world, and those hostages had to be brought back. Palestinians are taken hostage, and our media goes, who cares? They're not even human. They're not precious Israelis. They're irrelevant. Wait, it's not just Palestinians. Do you know that they kidnapped a 16-year-old American kid, Mohammed Ibrahim, and they put him in one of these dungeon chambers? He developed a disease. He was malnourished. People were worried that he was going to die. And luckily, in that case, Senator Van Hollen and some other angels here in America made such a big deal out of it. We tried in our own ways. We try to help as well through Operation Hope that we do here at TYT. But I think Senator Van Hollen had by far the biggest impact. And he was able to get that teenage innocent American kid out of one of these gulags, one of these concentration camps that Israel runs. But they were, and we've reported in the past, and human rights groups, including Israeli human rights groups, have reported tons of rape in these facilities, women being raped by the guards, men being raped by the guards.
Gang raped, in fact.
Gang raped, dogs doing raping of the detainees and hostages, etc. It is a sick, vicious, fascist government. We're being forced to fund it. And look, even if Dr. Abu Safiya somehow miraculously survives, and that would be amazing, and we should all do our best to try to make that happen. He will have been tortured for 2 years straight by these fascists, and we funded his torture. We fund those torture chambers where they keep all those innocent Palestinian hostages. And our media is so disgustingly racist and bigoted that they think, who cares? Just stupid Americans and stupid Palestinians and Arabs, their lives have no value at all. Only precious Israelis count. I can't be disgusted enough with our media.
And I just have to say, the international doctors who literally risk their lives to provide care to Palestinians in Gaza, these are the real heroes.
Yes.
Knowing what's happening to healthcare workers, knowing what's happening to journalists, knowing what's happening to literal children, toddlers in some cases, who have gunshot wounds to the head and chest. These doctors still show up. They still risk their lives. They still provide care. Those are the people who keep me going. Because honestly, dealing with this level of evil day in and day out with the job that we do, it makes you want to give up on humanity. But there are, honestly, most humans are good. Unfortunately, right now, not a lot of them are in the Israeli government or the IDF.
Yeah, those doctors, both the Palestinians and the Americans that go into Gaza to save those kids and save those people, absolute angels. I mean, you can't find better, bigger angels than that.
Yeah.
And at the very opposite end of that spectrum is every cable news anchor in America, who are all disgusting terrorist lovers, who bury all this news for you guys, never ever reported, so that you'll be deluded and tricked and manipulated, deceived into supporting Israel, the terrorist state, as they torture people with our money.
We're looking at you, Dana Bash. We're looking at you, not even challenging a literal war criminal wanted by the International Criminal Court on your airwaves just today. We're looking at you.
And
disgusting.
in fact, Dana Bash, Netanyahu starts attacking Haley Stevens because she's not been sufficiently slavish enough to Israel, even though she's funded by AIPAC, et cetera. And Dana Bash steps in and goes, no, you're better off with her winning. Wait, why are you advocating for the Israelis when you're supposed to be a reporter challenging the prime minister of Israel?
We know.
No, we know. And has Dana Bash talked about the genocide? She would never call it a genocide because she's not an objective reporter. She's a propagandist for Israel. Has she talked about the 23,000 dead children that her beloved Israel slaughtered? Has she talked about all the torture that's going on in the Israeli prison system? Has she talked about the Palestinian hostages? Has she talked about the brutal, oppressive 58-year occupation of the Palestinians? No, because she doesn't care about them. She thinks they're inferior to her, and they're not at all important. They're barely even human. The only people that matter to Dana Bash, and to be fair to Dana, almost every cable news anchor in America is the Israelis, and only the Israelis. So that's a fact. They never covered this. They cover it up because they're monsters.
100%.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.